Mr. Monty here. The first week of July was hot, humid, and rainy. Both of my humans were ailing from some terrible, unnamed malady. In fact, as you'll soon hear for yourself, my dear chef Blondie could barely speak. Old Fuzzface wasn't feeling much better. The last thing either of them wanted to do was turn on the oven to make an evening meal. That's why they decided to make this thermal cooker 3-course chicken dinner. So, come along with Blondie, Fuzzy, and me to see how they put this meal together. Along the way, I'll explain how this is a master recipe that can be modified in dozens of ways.
Hello, my friends. Chef Blondie here. I've been a little under the weather. And speaking of weather, for the last, 2 or 3 weeks, we've been almost 100 degrees. And so Chef Fuzzy and I, to try to beat the heat, we're going to be featuring some recipes to so we don't have to use the oven and the stove and all that. We're going to be using the thermal cooker today, and then we'll be doing a sourdough bread in the bread machine later on. But today, let's focus on the thermal cooker and what we're going to be doing. And it's called lemon pepper chicken with potatoes, gravy, and green beans. And we're going to be using these potatoes. It does call for red potatoes. This is what I've got in my pantry, and I've got to use them up. It calls for butter, and we're going to use some chicken breast that we're going to cut up. You can use pork, any meat you really want. And I picked these fresh green beans yesterday right out of the garden. And you're going to need lemon pepper, and you're going to need an oven bag, a small oven bag, because the meat's going to go in the bag. Anyway, Chef Fuzzy and I are going to get this started and take you along and show you how it's done. Happy cooking.
Now Chef Blondie will show you how to prepare lemon pepper chicken with potatoes, gravy, and green beans. Remember, this is a master recipe. So, you can substitute various cuts of beef or pork in place of chicken. Likewise, you can substitute any number of vegetables in place of green beans. Be creative and make the most out of this recipe.
Let's go ahead and get this started. And first of all, we're going to have to cut our potatoes in half, and then we're going to layer it into the main pot here. So I think cutting it in half will work just fine because they're not really big. So let's get them layered in there. Okay. And let's go for another one. Now this one I might have to do. Yeah, I think it'll work. Yeah. You don't want them mushy for sure. And we got one more. Get one more to do it. All right, so now we're going to cut up the chicken. And I only need 2 pounds, and this is like a 3-pound pack. So I think that you think 2 of these would be too much, Bub? That's okay. All right. And let me put this over here so I can put it in there. And since I've got my gloves, I'm just going to go ahead, cut this up, and put it in the cooking bag. And then we'll get the seasoning on. So, okay. I think I'm going to cut these in half, right? I think that'll be good enough. All right, so let's get these guys in the cooking bag. Yeah, and this is the smallest cooking bag I could find yesterday. It was either that or turkey size. And I'm not ready for turkey, although I am ready for cool weather. I mean, this heat has got to go. And I have family members that just love the heat and love the summer. And I long for the winter. That's just me. And Fuzz. All right. Okay, now we're going to do the lemon pepper. Calls for 1 to 2 tablespoons. And I think 1 tablespoon will be just fine. If I can get it out. And maybe a little bit more. And the humidity is clogging up my lemon pepper. And then to that, whoops. Oh well. Like I said, this virus is about to get me, and it's making me dizzy. My ears are all plugged up. Okay, so we're going to need approximately about 3 tablespoons of butter. So let's see, that's about 3. And let's cut it into halves. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to put that in there. Okay, let me get my. And then we're going to mix by kneading gently from outside of the bag. All right, and so I guess what we do next is we're going to put the chicken into the pot here, and you have to make sure that the bag, you don't tie it, is on the outside. All right, now we're going to add water to cover the potatoes and the chicken. But you're going to have to leave enough room so that the other pot will go on top. And good enough, Fuzz? I should have let you do this recipe. No mercy today. Put that tongue back in your mouth. See? Fair enough now, any more? You sure? Yeah, it's covering it. All right. Okay, if you have a gas range, please be very careful with this. Do not let it get anywhere near the flame. I'm going to tuck it in a little bit here just to make sure. All right, so now we're going to put this on the stove. I'm going to bring it to a boil. And gently boil it for about 10 minutes. Now, let's go ahead and get our green beans ready. I've already prepped them. So, just pop them in here. And I think I'm going to add a little salt to this. You can season it. And probably just a little bit of pepper. Oh, my favorite pepper now. Thank you, Jacques Pepin. And then we're going to add, cover these with water, is that right? All right, fuzz face. How much water goes in here? Yeah.
That adds thermal mass.
Right, that's right.
You want the thermal mass.
Okay. How's that? That's about all I can handle. I cannot hold it much. Okay. So, all right, so we're going to get those started. There we go. All right, our pot's beginning to boil, so I'm going to have to turn this down just a little bit. Set the timer for 10 minutes. And these have already boiled some. And so in 10 minutes, we're going to put this all together and see what we've got. Okay, everything's just about ready to go. And Chef Fuzzy here, he's going to put it all together. And
Don't cut off my head.
I just did.
Keep it level.
Stick your tongue out again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Blast off. All right, be careful, Fuzz, because it's very, very hot. All right, here we go. Into the thermal cooker. Okay. All right, let's get over here and get the green beans on top. Got it, Sue? Okay. And it goes. And you got the lid there. Okay, here we go. Okay, then you're going to fold that other piece on top. Let's get the cooker down. Okay, good job, Fuzz. See you back in about 4 hours, you think? All right, happy cooking.
This brief interlude will answer 2 important questions you might have. First, what did Chef Blondie and Fuzzy do with the 4 hours while they were waiting for dinner to cook? Second, why do we keep showing raspberries with our thermal cooker meal?
Well, it's getting ready to go out and pick some raspberries. But it started to rain, which is okay because hopefully it'll cool the temps down a little bit. We'll see. Let's go check the berries. Rain has let up a little bit. It's nice and cool now. Wow, look at all of these under here. You're so good at Fuzzy at pointing things out, and I'm the one that has to pick them and watch out for snakes, right?
Just a little.
All right, let's see what we've got going here.
Ooh, it's hot.
It's been put it on at 11:30. It's 4:05. See what we've got going.
Beans are hot.
Okay, so I'm gonna put the beans.
Lift them up.
All right.
Put them over here.
Okay.
I guess we can start making the gravy.
All right. So.
I'm gonna take the bag out.
Yep.
Ooh, there's a lot of juice in there.
Yep. Yeah. We had to. You have to add a thickening agent to the chicken, and so what we did was we did a little bit of cornstarch and chicken stock, and hopefully that'll thicken it up some. So you can pour a little bit of it in there and make sure it's stirred up some. Okay. Yeah, just a little bit, some of it. Don't have to do all of it. And then, you got to mush it up some.
And it's going to be necessary to do this with a hot.
Yeah, because I know it's very hot.
That's beginning to look like gravy.
Oh, good. Okay, do you think that's going to be thick enough, you think?
I'm going to put a little bit more in.
Okay. Yeah, we've kind of had to take this recipe and adapt it to our own.
Well, remember, we didn't have any with the recommended thickener.
Right, and it's just too hard to find. So you just kind of have to go with your own and make it yourself.
Yep. Okay, I think we just let this sit for a little while. It's time for the official Serendipity Farmhouse Test Kitchen taste test. First of all, let's take a look at what we have here.
Beautiful. It came out perfect.
It's thoroughly cooked. We
Yep.
can see that right away.
It was very hot taking it out of the thermal cooker.
Right. The thermal pot did, or the thermal cooker,
Yeah.
did what it was supposed to do. Flavor is going to be something else. We'll try a little bit of the chicken because that's the primary point.
Right.
And it just flakes right away. I didn't have to use the knife.
Mm-hmm. Perfectly cooked.
Okay, first of all, I'm not a fan of breast meat. I prefer the dark meat.
Mm-hmm.
This is juicy. The flavoring that we added, the spices, add a lot to it. The butter that was cooked in with this really add a lot more. I'm going to have another bite. Texture is good.
Okay. How about the potatoes? They
the
look like they're
potatoes.
done.
Okay, first of all, we have to say that because we didn't have the proper thickener,
Right.
and we had to improvise
Mm-hmm.
with thickener, the gravy is not quite as thick as we would like.
Right.
However, let's check and see how the flavor is.
Mm-hmm. Potatoes are done.
Potatoes are very done. Almost overdone, but
Right.
that's not too bad. The flavor from the gravy is excellent. It
Okay.
adds a lot to the potatoes.
Okay.
Now the green beans.
They look like they're done.
The green beans are definitely done.
Mm-hmm.
They're very tender.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now we cheated. A little while earlier, we tried one of the green beans, and it had strings in it, which isn't a good thing.
I don't like strings on my green beans.
But I'm not going to have to gross anybody out by pulling a string out of my mouth, because it's very fortunate. The green bean that I just ate had no strings. So in other words, this was a great meal with no strings attached. So
Good job, Fuzz.
at this point, the thermal cooker did its job.
Yep.
The meal is ready. It's
Yeah.
an entire meal. We have a starch here. We have
4.5
protein,
hours.
and
Yes.
we have vegetables. And there's a terrible thunderstorm going on outside. If we were to have lost the power 2 hours ago,
Yep.
it wouldn't have mattered
Right.
because this meal was already cooking itself.
Yep.
Try that with a slow cooker. It doesn't work. If the power goes out, the slow cooker stops. The thermal cooker kept on cooking.
Yes.
So thermal cooker kept on cooking, and there were no strings attached. What more can we say? It's time for supper. So remember, keep it simple, keep it practical, like using a thermal pot, and happy cooking
And happy eating.
and happy eating.